Hey guys, Roman here. It's going to do the next tutorial for Prophet. Okay, so Prophet's been changed around a wee bit. Some of its features have gone to the new indicator called Messiah, and some of the old stuff's still here. And I think there's one or two new things added to this as well. So we'll get into this. The buy and sell signals that are also in Prophets here will appear on your chart directly. So if you don't want to have the oscillator or you just want them on your chart, you can have them. Good way to do it. You can then reduce the transparency of them, for instance. The buy signal, say here, you can reduce it down to maybe like 10%, and the sell signal's down to like 10%. So they're really faint on your chart. They take up a lot of real estate, but it's a good way just to remind yourself, like, hey, the indicator's saying there's probably down coming, indicator's saying there's probably some down coming, right? So not a bad way of doing that, but that's what they are. You can change the big and small, just like on Prophets here as well. Depends on which ones you want to show. So if you don't want all the noise of the small ones that appear, you can just get rid of the small ones just by doing that, right? And you get less noise. Turn those off moving forward. Next up is the Bollinger Band on the chart. Alright, it's the default one. There's something special about it. It's just available on the chart part of the indicator. The reason being is when you've got the Prophet indicator suite on your chart, that they take up a few indicators now. We've got 5. We started off initially with 1, but now we're at 5, and they're all jam-packed for features. So we've included all these kind of indicators which are free, these two, alright? So you don't have to have additional indicators over here, which allows, you to have more. Okay, so we've got Ichimoku, Bollinger Band. They're just the default ones, nothing special about them. You can change the colors of those down here, and there's the color section. Next up is Pinbars. This is one that we've added. This is a feature that was a part of the initial indicator. Just highlights the Pinbar candle. Right, so a bearish one will be red, a bullish one will be green. It doesn't mean the price has to go up after one, right? So pin bars are just another kind of candle, right? Like that's a very, very large one, essentially, but it's not really what we're looking for. We want to see the real big wick and a little body. That's the key giveaway of a key pin bar, right? So something like this, for instance, where it swung the previous low, huge wick that closed above the previous low, that is screaming to just buy, okay? So that would be a great entry. If there's divergence here as well, even better entry. If you've got, we're on a daily time frame, so if you have a 4-hour buy signal somewhere in this area on the lower time frame in the 4-hour, then that's in, like, add all these features up and you're going to end up with some nice entries like that, right? It does miss a couple as well, so it won't grab every single one. It's very hard to fine-tune the pin bar logic, so there will be some that it'll miss, okay? So cool, it finds you pin bars. Next up is SFPs. The SFPs, this is a new feature. It's not perfect. We will continue to do our best to work on this one. So far with the data that we have got and the testing that we've done, this is where we're up to so far, but this will be a work in progress. So you've got different accuracy levels of this, the SFPs. You've got the high, medium, and low. By default, it says on medium. And what this does is let you know that it's swung previous price action. We'll jump to the lower time frame, might get some more signals here. See what we got here. So what it's telling us is this wick came up higher than the previous candle and then closed lower. Okay, it might also have been a candle over here. If there was no wick here, but a wick here, and it came above that, then it would have SFP'd this wick, right? So it's doing its best to use the logic because it's quite easy to confuse it, and it's taken quite a while to get to where we are with this, based off the data we've got. So we can see that this wick here went just higher than this wick here, right? So that's an SFP, and we're seeing here there's a reaction down, try to go again, a reaction, and then dump off, okay? We can see here we got another one. This wick here came higher than this wick, and then closed back lower. So it's letting you know there's been a lot of pressure here to the downside. So if we end up pushing up here, then a lot of the bears who have sold here or tried to push price down here are now trapped down here, and they have to rebuy or close their short positions higher. Go back into the indicator here with the SFPs. Just going to move that down. You've also got the accuracy, so if you want to have a different accuracy, I'd recommend just taking the easy with these, just for this first initial release of the SFP. Don't expect it to be 100%, but it's pretty good. It is pretty good. So this is the distance away in percent, alright, from the previous. This one here is the candle look back. So how many candles backwards it looks, okay? So that's what's available here, and then at the top here we've got the up here as well. So I believe we'll have a patch that'll probably put this text down here with the SFP stuff. We might even just put that in its own section. But ultimately the tool is the same and you'll be able to use it. So muck around with this. Change these numbers around, these variables around if you like. See what you can come up with. If you find something that actually forward tests and back tests well, let us know so we can try and improve on it and go from there. Okay. So green SFPs are usually bullish reversals, and then the red ones are usually silver reversals. Okay. So if you can combine an SFP with bullish or bearish divergence, or a buy signal, or a level reclaim, stuff like that, then that's where you get your really nice entries usually. Alright, so moving on from that, we've got the calendar levels. These are just the opens of the, as it states here, the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. You get to choose which ones you want. We'll just throw this one on. And what we'll see here as we zoom out, the daily new candle opened here, the week opened here, and if we zoom out a wee bit, the month opened actually up here. So the reason we have these candle to these levels is when price comes back to them, we usually see price action reject off at the first time, or you'll see fights for these particular levels. So as we see here, it opened here, went away from it, the bears rejected it, came back down, lost it, right, and couldn't get back above it, right, so then we sold off. It doesn't always happen like this, but these levels get fought for. We can see it was fought for very heavily here. So definitely with having those on your chart. We've also got the previous week. This is a new feature, the previous week. So if you want to see the previous lot of time frame, right? So the previous month actually opened here. So it came away from it, came back to it, bounced, 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 reclaimed it one more time. See you later. And then came here, we lost it. Bearish retest couldn't get above, right, and lost. So this is the previous ones. So this is a good way to see price action reflect off the previous candle open. Cool. We'll remove that. Next is the stop loss level. So this is a noob friendly way to do stop losses. Just because I say noob doesn't mean that people who are not noob shouldn't use it. It's a great tool. ATR is a great tool. So we've got two different levels to choose from: new to trading and advanced trader. New to trading just has this text here, right? And the bearish stop loss above here just to remind you, and it also has the price. When we go to advanced trader, we'll see that disappear, right? And we'll only see this. So if you know what you're looking at, then you don't need to see that extra information. ATR is based on volatility and price, or volatility of price, and then has a level here based on how far away from current price it is. And so that's telling you if we were to go, say, a short position, have your stop loss above here to be safe, and probably keep you away from that previous high here as well. But we don't want to go long or short here because we're in the middle of a range. It's never a good place to go long and short, especially when you're under resistance. Right, you can change that level if you've got a greater risk appetite and you like to have your stop loss closer to your entries to have a larger position size. Then that'll actually bring that level in. See how it's much closer now? So it's using ATR 1. So you can backtest this and work out what you like. 1.5 to 2 is a noob friendly safe. It'll start on 2. If you get a nice position and then you use ATR for your stop loss, usually you get a nice, you get to ride the whole trend, right? You don't have to be greedy and hit the perfect stop loss and perfect entry. Using ATR and a little bit of logic and back-tested, forward-tested strategies, ATR is a very powerful tool. So just because I said noob at the start doesn't mean you should dismiss it if you're not a noob. Next up is our continuation trend candles. Okay, so these go hand in hand with the P candles, the P candle zone as well. So if we go and have a look, say we'll zoom in. They turn on and they go orange. When it goes orange, it's saying expect the trend to continue in the direction it came from. So we're heading down. So it's saying expect more down from this. If and when it then changes color to the teal, right, is then saying it thinks trend might reverse soon. Okay, so we can see here it just sold off anyway, so it was incorrect, but it did keep you in here. So you still got to make some money. It actually came down this low. So it depends on if you were short here, all right. If and when it went teal and you rebought here, you still had a win. We can see here it's saying stay long because it's come from an up, it was orange. It means for an SFP coming here. This wick here is an SFP, and then we can see it reverse straight after that, right? So it can keep you in a trend. For instance, like up here we can see it's gone orange, it said stay in. It's gone orange, it said stay in. We can see a reaction off that. It didn't go teal. Oh, sorry, it may have actually. It should have. There we go. So it's there. It's saying trend is probably finished for now. And we get a bit of a pullback. But that's how they work. So it depends on which way the trend came from. They can say stay in trend. Okay. So say you shorted the bearish divergence here, right? It came down. It changed color with an SFP for here as well. They're saying probably want to close your short, maybe you'll take some profit or whatever. And we see a reaction off that. You want to feel like a king, and then it's come back to your the low anyway. SFP that, and then that's your long candle. Pretty straightforward. That's how they work. Cool, cool. So next up we've got the trend strategy signal. So this is based off Ichimoku, and also based off I think it's Mooney, which is from the Messiah indicator now. I think there's one other or two other things as well. When they converge, it says buy. So the first initial one came in here, said buy. Told you to buy all of this, told you to buy this, told you to buy that. Alright. So the good thing about this is if you're in a trending market and say you miss this initial pump and you're like, oh fuck, I missed the move. Well, if and when these come in, you can start to be like, okay, well maybe I'll average in, or maybe I'll take an entry now, because they give you fresh, constant entries based on trend. Okay. So, and then the same works on the way on the down as well. No, I think they're only long signals. That's right. But they're based off Mooney, Ichimoku, and I'm sure there's like one or two other things in there for Confluence. Next up is the TK cross. This is for Ichimoku. So Ichimoku is this indicator here. The TK cross comes in, it should be as a signal. Usually there's an arrow. It's not showing. I just saw someone mention before on Discord that they weren't showing. So it isn't showing, and this will be a bug fix. But usually what it does is there will be, when these two lines here cross, this is the conversion line, the blue one. And then you've got the base line, which is the red one. Now when the conversion goes through the base, that's called a TK cross. Right, there's another one here, another one here. When they happen, we usually get a signal saying, hey, this has happened. That's Ichimoku telling you that the it's thinking trend will reverse soon. So we can see here it crossed, and then trend took off. We can see here it crossed, trend carried on down. We can see it crossed here, trend carried back on up. The TK cross is a powerful strategy in itself. We've got Pinbars, which we've covered already. No, coming down. This is a new feature. I've been wanting this for a long time. Hazer the legend has pulled this off. This is my 50% Pinbar strategy, okay? You can change the value of the 50% yourself here. You can change the offset of the text of that here as well. So if you want to say that 10, like the previous tutorial we've done, let's go ahead and have a look what it looks like, okay? So, got that on the chart. I'm just going to get rid of these monthly levels real quick. Cool. We have the 4 hour. Do we have a... Here we go. Cool, cool, cool. So, what we'll do... Go back down to this. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, show 50% pinbar. Here we go. We've got it here. So based on 50% of the wick of the pinbar. So let's just draw a pinbar real quick. Pinbar is usually a candle that has a small candle body, maybe a small wick on the upside and a large wick to the downside, or the inverse of that. You've got a small body down here, a large wick back to the upside, and maybe a small one here. That's usually a typical pinbar, okay? So here's one here. You can see this candle. Here's one. We can see this little black candle. Here's one. Right. However, this one has an SFP, and this one did not SFP. So what it's telling us is based on this pinbar here, this particular one, the high of it, and the candle body wick, sorry, the wick and the body where they meet here, what we're doing is actually working out 50% of that wick, which is here. So my trading strategy is, when this wick forms, especially in an SFP type price action like this, is usually price will come back down to it, to try and at least push back up about this 50% mark of that wick. So we take our entry here, we have our stop loss above here, and it tells you where to put your stop loss, it tells you where to put your entry, right? And then you can take that as a trade to the short, the downside, right? So if we use maybe go Go to the daily time frame. Let's see if any come up. Give it a moment. Might just use this replay tool to see here. Here we go, cool. So what it's doing is telling us this is a pin bar. So this candle body is much smaller compared to the wick and has a small wick on top. It's not perfect like this little guy, or the previous one we just pointed out, but this would technically still be a pin bar. So we've got it as tracking it. So it's saying look for an entry on this level. Okay, so we go and press play on this. Come straight to our level. Okay, it's the third dips, it's divergence building. We've got that weekly R2 level we talked about earlier, right? We've got a buy signal. We've got all these different things coming in. It's saying go long here, stop below here for a daily time frame swing. So it's a bit of a difference in price. It's 5, maybe 7%. So on a daily time frame, that's not too bad because we're expecting this to rally up quite a lot from here. It's not a small time frame trade, but it's telling you where to have your stop loss, where to look to enter. You get the bottom of this dip, right, and then you're getting this reaction off it, which is pretty good. So that's that new feature there. Have a play with that. It's just been added. There's definitely probably some room to improve on this. Check it out. It's one of my favorite trading strategies. Next up is the beam bands. I'll just throw those on the chart. We'll zoom out. Alright, just reading Discord. Oh, boom bands, where are you hiding? It's usually like a band on the actual chart itself. I might just... Do I need to be on maybe a different ticker? Oh no, sorry, it's these here. I had to zoom out a bit more. Right. So it usually tells you when to buy when it goes green, tells you when to sell when it goes red, tells you when to buy green. Area of resistance, area of resistance. So if and when we get above this, maybe look for the red for a top, or when we get above it and lose it, top. However that plays out, I'm not sure what's going to play out. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a great little indicator. Helps you get the bottoms. Check it out. Right, you can see it really respected it when we came up to it. So if you had it respecting this here, and you get the pi top signal here, you get the divergence, and we lost the band on the oscillator here. Right, as that played out, you get all these signals that come together and be like, hey, probably going to top here. It might not be a bad place to take some profit or hedge. Right. Cool, move down. Wait, where are we? Here we go. So this one here is a signal Hazer has inputted of something that he has created. This is his baby. When it goes green, it's telling you to get in. Okay, and when it loses that, it's telling you to be cautious again. It's telling you to get in, it's telling you to be cautious again. So it's based off, I believe it's volume, different forms of volume. It's pretty decent. It is pretty decent. Like we can see, it keeps you in these pretty nice little rallies. Check it out. Great Confluence. So if you've got like a buy signal down here, divergence, an SFP, a level reclaim, it goes green, you get the hell in, you ride it until it changes color, then you get out. Pretty straightforward. It's like Mooney, I guess. Next up is divergence properties. Cool. Alright, so because this is profit, we can actually see these on the chart, okay? So if we want to see, where are we? Here we go. If we want to see actual divergence on the chart, then we can tick the ones we want to see. So just like we saw the little icons appear on the oscillating indicator, we can make them appear actually on the chart itself as well. So if you're someone who likes to see bull divs, you never want to miss one, you can make it scream at you when one comes in. So just come in here, might be time to pay attention, right? Because you usually get a reaction off these. So you can actually have them directly on your chart here. Same with the golden Pepe, level 3. Throw that on. My drawing tools, get rid of that tool. What have I done? Turn that off, show bull div. So we can have just the golden Pepes maybe on our chart. Alright, so when they come in, be like, yep, sweet, I want to pay attention to those. Next up, you got the alerts, so the buy signals we talked about before, the same ones that are on Prophets here. The SFP signal, not the bearish one. Alright, you get an alert based on those. An alert based on the bullish 50% Pinbar strategy. This is new. Let us know how you go with that. The bullish trend signal. Right, so all these are pretty straightforward. Then you can change the colors to right here, and the colors to right here. The transparency of the divergence that might lock in. So say for instance you've got a golden Pepe forming, and you've got the set to like say 30, so it's not in your face, and it's a really light gold icon just sitting here, but it hasn't locked in yet. That's a good way to be like, hey, look, there's one flashing on a daily time frame. Maybe it's time to pay attention. And you can also have this one last thing that we've got down here. This is just a note to yourself. You can change what the note says here. It can be like, Prophets is awesome, right? And it'll update this here. So it's a good way to remind yourself, or just have a note for yourself. If you're someone who forgets stuff often, like myself, maybe you've got to pick up the kids at 3 o'clock because school finishes, right? And you're someone who's going to forget. You've even got kids, like, it's probably something I would do. You'd be like, don't forget to pick up kids, right? So if you're trading all day or you're on TradingView all day, just a little nice little friendly reminder there. You can change how this appears, choose the color of the text, the size of the text, and if it's above or below the bar. The bar is based on the current price, right? So however you want to use that to your advantage. If you're someone who's quite impulsive, you could be smart about it and actually use this and be like, no setup, no trade, right? Because just because you drew a line on the chart here and it came down to your line, that doesn't mean buy it, does it? What is your entry? What is your exit? What is your take profits? You know, how does it all work with your stop loss? So you need a setup. Okay, so that's the profit one. I'll wrap this up and move on to the next indicator. Cheers.